Well, Saturday's video was a bit of a doozy, wasn't it? Now, I want to say thank you to almost everyone who commented on that video. The support was absolutely fantastic. It was actually overwhelming at times. It felt amazing to have people reach out and say that, look, thank you so much for everything you've done over the past couple of years. Eve Echoes is a game I've spent 3 years of my life focusing on. It is intrinsic to me at this point. It's a huge thing. It's the game that has been covered most on this channel and for longest. It's the game that made me and gave me the foothold on YouTube that I currently have, for what that's worth. It's a game I love deeply, but it is a game that is being horrifically mismanaged. And on that front, I don't want to be ranty Benzie. I don't want to be angry Benzie. I want to be positive, constructive. Auto Mechanics' phrase of, I'm having fun, here's how you can too. That's what I want to be. But equally, I'm not about to lie to the community or ignore what's going on. So we're here talking about this again, unfortunately. The Nanocore, Intelligent Nanocore, coming soon. For those of you who thought this was some kind of ramp up to an April Fool's joke, no, it's not. This has been confirmed. It was confirmed before Saturday's video. I did say at the start of that I'd gone around and double-checked and done my research on it, and no, it's 100% accurate. This is happening, so make of that what you will. But we now have the English version of the notes, and there are some interesting bits to add to the discussion here. When I say add to the discussion, I'm not saying this is about to save things. If you are, on the verge of leaving Eve Echoes, this probably isn't about to rescue you. But, to the same token, it is worth talking about. So without further ado, let's jump right in and have a look at this. Again, I will put a link to this article in the description below to prove that this isn't some kind of Photoshop or something like that. This is verified. The developers themselves have confirmed this. Dear pilots, to bring you a better gaming experience, and let's not focus on that because that's just ridiculous. We've been focusing on continuously improving gameplay. No, you haven't. To Cloud's own admission to me last week, you've not been focusing on improving gameplay, you've been focusing on slapping gameplay on. Cloud literally said to me that, yeah, the past couple of years have been all about getting as much content into the game as possible, whereas this year we're looking at going back and actually, improving that. So this is just a lie. Focus on continuously improving gameplay. The developers themselves readily admit that's not been the plan, and it probably isn't going to be the plan now, as we're seeing. Recently, we noticed PvE gameplay has some operations that need to be performed repeatedly, which will not only isn't fun, but also increases the fatigue of everyone. Yeah, because the PvE system is boring as all hell. And we will talk about that later on, because some people were saying to me, well, what can you do about that? There is plenty they could do about that. Like, people saying, oh, well, PvE's not where the fun is, PvP's where the fun is, there's never a challenge in PvE. In Echoes, you're right. In EVE Online, you can absolutely have challenging PvE content. Ask anyone who runs Abyssal Dead Spaces. Ask anyone who goes ratting in a wormhole what the sleepers can be like. These can be terrifying PvE encounters. Just in Echoes, Netties seem absolutely terrified of anyone losing their ship. So everything they do, or have done recently, is purely geared around, nope, we don't want people losing their ship. We're going to have boring content that's super easy to do. We're going to put, we want PvP to be in faction war games and Corporations Clash, where you can turn destruction off. Oh, sorry, my friend, did you lose your capital ship? Well, don't worry, you've spent enough with us. You can have it right back. Everything that NetEase has done has been focusing on appeasing players who don't want to play EVE. They just want to play a spaceship game, not EVE. And this is kind of the point here, that I think anyone who comes at you and says, oh, well, not all of us want to risk our ships, then that's fine. But you don't want EVE. That's not what this game has ever been about, or should not have been what this game was ever about. EVE, as a concept, is all about consequences for your actions, and if you have no consequences to your actions, well, yeah. You can argue that scanning killed LowSec. No, it didn't. High-Sec Islands killed LowSec. LowSec would have been fine if, with scanning there, if the reward had been worth the risk, but it's not. High-Sec Islands can make 80% of low-sec ISK with zero risk whatsoever. So it's all of the ISK, almost all of the ISK with none of the risk. That's been the problem, and that has been NetEase's design philosophy all the way throughout. That's why we have Verge of Silence and that as events now rather than things like the Crimson Harvest. Because you could lose your ship in the Crimson Harvest, you can't lose your ship in Verge of Silence, and that's why that one's getting repeated. But anyway, Therefore, we've introduced the Intelligent Nanocore, which can be obtained by upgrading the purple Nanocore. So that thing that you can't really do by grinding in-game and you are almost guaranteed to have to spend money for, yeah, that's how you're going to do this, with the original attributes retained. So that's kind of cool, that basically what they're looking at here is that you have like multiple purple nanocores, you can kind of combine them together into something else. It makes me think kind of like integrated rigs, where you are combining multiple of the rigs together into a single rig slot item. That's what this looks to be. Upgrade your purple nanocores, and then you can combine them together into a golden nanocore, one of these intelligent nanocores. Pilots can apply it to unlock the AI function and avoid repetitive operations in single combat missions. In the future, this AI feature can be expanded to many fields, such as mining and transportation. They keep saying this like it's something to be proud and excited for. Like, again, even if you took them at face value, we've been focusing on continuously improving gameplay, and we're trying to add something that will make the gameplay more fun. This doesn't add anything to the gameplay whatsoever. What it does is mean that you, as a player, don't have to engage with the gameplay. You can apply this nanocore, set your ship to go and autopilot around Claralam or whatever. You can put your phone down and go and play something that you actually enjoy playing, and when you come back, it'll be done. That's not adding gameplay. That's allowing you to ignore the gameplay, and that can never be a good design decision, just by the sheer literality of what that is. Like, there's no getting around that. It is just, you are openly admitting that your game is so bad, you are offering players the way to circumvent actually having to play it. In the future, this AI field can be to mining and transportation, because again, what's the point in playing it at this point? Why not just have a bot that does everything for you? Be careful when using it, as it's possible to be attacked by other pilots in low-sec and null-sec regions, which is not where this is going to be used. And according to New Eden AI ethics agreement, a little bit of law speak, it will not actively initiate attacks on other pilots. So if you get attacked, the AI will not take over and shoot back at that pilot. It will just focus on whatever you're doing. So yeah, don't use this in low-sec or null-sec. It's for the high-sec players. It's for the Claralam people who spend all day, every day, running those same missions over and over and over again and do nothing else in the game because they don't want the risk. And again, it's like, this could have been time spent on literally anything else. We've got a community sitting there saying we want small ship content, we want industry to be fixed, we want exploration to be expanded, we want all of these things that you've started on to be fleshed out and repaired and made good, and instead you're spending time accommodating to the same goddamn community that you've been accommodating to for well over 2 years now. Like, the people who already have the game that they want and are able to just do whatever the hell they want in the game anyway. The people who have won Echoes, basically. They're sitting on so much ISK that they don't know what to do with it, causing rampant market inflation, causing Plex inflation. Those are the people that NetEase are absolutely adamant that, no, they can never lose a ship. And now they don't even need to play the game to do it. And I did think for a while, like, genuinely, maybe this could be a good thing because these are, like, bad AI. You know, NetEase's answer to AI in EVE Echoes has been atrocious in the past. But then I realised it's not going to matter, because if you lose your ship because of this AI functionality and it loses it to the rats, then NetEase are just going to turn around and go, oh, sorry, here's your ship back, because they are so terrified of someone actually having to face the consequences for their own decisions, which, again, is not EVE. But yeah, so yeah, you're not going to actually have like a situation where you can use this for PvP. If you were using this in low-sec or null-sec and someone jumps you, you're probably going to lose your ship. It's also worth noting the feature has a daily limit setting so that all pilots can experience a better life as a capsuleer, because even NetEase have figured out that if you just let people do this 24/7, like literally just plug your phone in and let this run 24/7, that's going to be bad for the game. The thing is, it's not bad for the game if it runs 24/7, it's bad for the game, full stop. Because you are literally advocating for people to not play the game. The time spent designing and implementing this system could have been time spent actually making PvE fun to play. PvE in EVE Online has numerous different options. You've got the agent missions, which are varied. Go to this place and destroy everything is an option. But sometimes it's go to this place and destroy this one specific person. Sometimes it's go to this place and you can shoot at the rats to, survive longer if you want, but I actually only need you to destroy this moon base. It can be something to the effect of, I need you to hold this enemy pilot in place with webifiers and scrams until Concord arrives. In fact, in some of the missions, you even have things like fly out to this point, kill the rats around it, and then loot the container by hacking into it. So there's even a little bit of exploration in there. There's things like fly out to this point, kill the enemies that are attacking the space station, pick up the scientists who are on that station, and drop them off at this location with the transport that's waiting for them, and stuff like that. There's so much variety and versatility, and those tell stories. The fact that I had to rescue someone who had been, abducted by the Angel Cartel, and while I was destroying the station that she was on, I had 2 cargo containers pop out. One contained the damsel, the other contained the janitor. That's a brilliant story in and of itself. There's so much going on there that is just really fun. But then look at Abyssal Dead Spaces, look at wormhole ratting, look at some of the escalations and things like this that can genuinely be quite challenging in EVE Online. They're fun, they're exciting. PvE is something you do for fun, not something you do so that you can afford to PvP, and that's where Echoes went wrong. We also hope that through this feature, all pilots can be freed from some repetitive operations and allocate their time and energy more reasonably. Yeah, they can allocate their time and energy away from the game. It doesn't help them engage with other aspects of the game. It just means you don't have to sit there and stare at your phone whilst running your Clariland missions. You can just buy this, put it down, and then off you go. Go and cook dinner, go and watch TV, go and play a game that you actually freaking enjoy playing, and then come back and EVE Echoes will have finished doing what it's doing. So they can further enjoy the fun brought by the game. The game and the fun that is so good that we are literally offering to automate it for you. However, there are some limitations to this feature, such as the fact it can only be used to fight in normal cosmic anomalies, in the system you're in, or to automatically pick up and complete high-sec combat encounter missions. If pilots have any suggestions for this feature or more new features, feel free to discuss them with the development team throughout the Discord community so that they can be summarily ignored. We've spent 3 years shouting at the devs, we want this, we want that. And in dev Q&As, in the Discord AMAs and stuff like that, the devs have acknowledged these things time and time again and promised over and over, yeah, it's coming, we're working on it, we're looking to revamp this, we're going to be adding new stuff for this, we're going to be redoing that. And then it comes out and nothing has ever happened. They just lie, and it just disappears. It's gone. The devs tell you what you want to hear to get you to shut the fuck up when you're, trying to actually challenge them. They get you to back down, and then they just never deliver. And I don't know, I'm personally done with that. I'm done trying to support a game where the developers actively don't care about anything other than how big your wallet is. It's been proven at this point that that is exactly what's going on. And it's worth pointing, this isn't the end of EVE Echoes. There are going to be people who buy this and, continue to play the game and do whatever they're going to do. But it may as well be the death of the game, because the people who want to play it are no longer being supported. And all of you who watch my channel and are sitting there saying, well, this is it, this is the final straw for me, if this gets implemented, I'm out. I'm with you. I've been EVE Echoes' most prominent content creator for 3 years. I've tried for 3 years to look over at everything that NetEase is doing and go, I hate this, but maybe there's a good reason for it. Maybe this reason and that reason. And I sat there for 3 years being called a shill, getting death threats from some people over my attitude towards the game because I wanted to support the community. The trouble is I now realise that the game itself doesn't want to support its community, it just wants to rinse as much money out of it as possible. And again, I will do a full video explaining NetEase's business practices, and I'll, break this down by showcasing it with other games. But essentially what they do is they go around and they buy up an IP, or they design a game in a popular setting, like a Battle Royale, or like Diablo Immortal, or Infinite Lagrange being a 4X game. And Infinite Lagrange, curiously, is actually one of the strange, examples where this rule doesn't apply. But they go around and they design a game that promises the world, and people come on board with that, they stick around. Now, obviously, new game syndrome is a thing. People download a game, they try it for a bit, and then they go, cool, that's enjoyable, but I'm moving on to this shinier, newer thing. So the player base drops a little bit. And then the monetization starts creeping in, and more monetization comes in. The developers realize that the game is basically on a downward slope, and it's a lot more effort to try and turn that around than it is to just embrace it and enjoy it while it lasts. So they pull the developers away, and they move those onto a separate project, and the current game basically gets no meaningful new content. You just get a situation where people are asked to pay more and more and more to engage with the game. They're hoping that the sunken cost fallacy kicks in, and you go, well, I've spent this much, so I may as well keep spending. And that's a powerful thing. It's hard to move away from a game like Echoes, because you look at it and go, I've spent this much money on this game, will all of that be wasted? And my answer to you, if you're feeling that right now, is no. Your time hasn't been wasted. Your money has not been wasted. You had fun. That's what a game is about, having fun. And if you had fun, if spending and playing the game was enjoyable to you, then you have not wasted your time here. You are free to move on. I'm moving on at this point. I've spent 3 years of my life pretty much dedicated to this game, and I've had to sit there and say, was that wasted? No, it wasn't. We had a lot of fun times over those years. But it's time to move on to something new. And I don't want to do a shameless plug, but if there are any of you that are considering coming across to EVE Online, we set up Catskull there. For Echoes refugees, for people who wanted the EVE experience, but properly, but was too, worried about actually doing it. So that's been set up there. And we've got a great community of people who are all coming across and having fun and learning a new game and seeing what Echoes could have been. And it's just so sad to come to that realization now. But there you are, black and white on the screen. This is confirmed by the developers. It is coming. It is coming, and make of that what you will. I don't want to pull people out of the game. My intention here isn't to say you need to stop playing this game. My intention is to say this is what's happening. If this is the game you want to play, sure, stick around. But for those of you who this is not the game that you wanted, this is not what you signed up for 3 years ago, come join me. We'll find our fun somewhere else. Anyway, folks, thank you for watching. Thank you for your tireless support. And I know a lot of you have said recently, Benzie, you sound so depressed in these EVE Echoes videos. It's because it is upsetting. It is sad. Like, yeah, it's only a video game, but at the same point, it's sad. We've got friends and memories from this, and we're watching it now die. Don't expect me to be happy-clappy about that. If you want to hear happy-clappy, Benzie, come watch my EVE Online videos. Even if you're not playing the game, just come check it out and see how I sounded, how I used to sound about Echoes, if you've forgotten, because Lord knows I have. Anyway, again, seriously, folks, thank you for your support constantly. It does mean the world to me, and if you do decide to leave Echoes, you can probably find a home with us in EVE Online. Happy sailing, and see you in the real New Eden.